On the Chabahar agreement, my understanding is my cabinet colleague Sarbananda Sonowal ji is today going to Iran, and it is expected that we would see the long-term agreement between India and Iran on Chabahar.
Chabahar Port. After 2 decades, multiple bilateral meetings, progress stymied by geopolitical tensions, multiple government changes, finally, India could soon be signing a 10-year contract to operate the Chabahar Port. A high-level delegation, which will be led by Sarbananda Sonowal, India's Minister for Shipping, will be visiting Iran soon, and as early as second half of 2024, this strategic port could fall in India's kitty. Located in the southeastern part of the country, Chabahar has been developed with Indian aid. Now, some of you might be wondering what's the big deal about this port. Why has India been chasing the opportunity to run it for decades? The Chabahar Corporation dates back to 2003, which was when India had agreed to develop the port as well as the accompanying infrastructure. And the answer to that can be summed up in 2 words: strategic importance. India is interested in Chabahar because the port has value as a strategic gateway for Indian goods to reach markets in Afghanistan and Central Asia. India is looking to strengthen its presence in key infrastructure along the route passing through the Persian Gulf region. The Adani Group is already operating the Haifa port in Israel, and more port deals are expected in the region by Indian entities that will strengthen the country's presence on this strategic route, the main gateway for ships moving between the Indian subcontinent and Europe.
Right now, the port has not grown because actually we didn't, if you don't have a long-term agreement, it's very difficult to invest in a port. So the very clear expectation is that the Chabahar port, at least that part of the Chabahar port that we are involved in, that will definitely see more investments. It will see more connectivity linkages coming out of that port. And we believe today that connectivity is a very big issue in that part. International North-South Transport Corridor, which we are doing with Iran, Russia. Chabahar will connect us to that, also to Central Asia. We have a separate corridor, the IMEC corridor through Saudi Arabia. So I think I would await confirmation of the agreement. Nothing is done till it's done. But definitely it's heading in a good direction.
Also, the port can turn out to be a revenue-generating proposition. The capacity of the port for cargo handling is currently 8 metric ton, and India proposes to expand it to 18 metric ton in next phase of expansion and additional investment. The port, which is also expected to act as a strategic gateway connecting India to the Caspian Sea, Russia and Northern Europe, can also become a hub for the International North-South Transport Corridor, or INSTC, a 7,200-kilometer transport corridor for moving goods between India, Iran, Afghanistan, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Russia, Central Asia and Europe. In 2013, India committed to providing $100 million for the development of Chabahar Port, and in 2016, India, Iran and Afghanistan signed an agreement for the development of an international trade corridor, which included Chabahar as a central transit point. India had also agreed to invest $85 million in the development of Chabahar's Shahid Beheshti terminal. But bam came the US sanctions on Iran over its nuclear program. And thus far, India has only been able to supply 6 mobile harbor cranes valued at $25 million to develop the port. But India and Iran are now set to sign a long-term contract, which may be valid for 10 years after the elections in India are over. Negotiations on the long-term contract were held up over disagreements on arbitration clauses. But all that has been worked out. The deal is also significant as it comes at a time of renewed geopolitical disruption in West Asia. In recent weeks, Iran and Israel have clashed militarily after Tehran accused Tel Aviv of launching an airstrike against an Iranian diplomatic mission in Syria earlier in April. Iran launched a barrage of missiles and drone attacks on Israel in retaliation.